under 11 minutes. But you'd stop and look, if you, even out here, say on 92, let's give one of our weekends, which we have plenty of them with the special events, whether it's 4th of July with the race, whether it's race week or whether it's bike week, to get that individual to the hospital in an ambulance may take you 20, 25, 30 minutes. And there's a critical time in there to get the people to the hospital. Now you start going, let's say, from Pearson, Seville, Deltona, DeBerry, Oak Hill, New Smyrna, how much time that saves. And it's your child, your wife,
right, or your
husband. It means a lot. And it's a great program. Most places they have a commercial helicopter ambulance. Well, it was actually looked at a few years back again, and it was cheaper for Halifax to go with this way than for a commercial helicopter program. But then, would you have enough here to keep an ambulance, an air ambulance in Volusia County, or would it have to come out of Orlando, or Jacksonville, or Gainesville? And that's time, and when you're dealing with trauma, time is of the essence. And so it's very important to keep this program up, I feel. And here in Volusia County, instead of having the air ambulance that just sits, it's law enforcement and Halifax Hospital, so an air ambulance plus a police helicopter that works in the county and the cities, whether it may be a pursuit, whether maybe you're looking for somebody on the ground, whether you're looking for a missing person, missing cars, whatever. That helicopter staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so it's a great program, and it's something that I'm hoping we're going to do everything in our power to make sure this program stays in place. It's just going to take all of us sitting down together to work it out and make this program continue on. It's been very successful. And I'm really amazed that this has not been done in more places throughout the country. Maryland State Police basically has something like this. They have a tax that supports it. Volusia County, like I said, it's the hospital, and Volusia County Sheriff's Department. We pay half the helicopter, they pay half the helicopter. We fly it and maintain it. Staff it, do all the maintenance.
So it's a great partnership that you have there.
Absolutely, it's a great partnership.
Now we're going to talk about a lot of the successes that you've had, but I know one of them is your countywide communication system that I know Daytona Beach had been considering kind of taking it on and doing it themselves, but they actually are in line with a lot of the other cities now that are allowing you to do that countywide.
Well, what was forgotten is Daytona got out of it a few years back because of the cost, because of the issues they were having with it.
I remember, because I was commissioner in it.
That's being forgotten. A lot of the players that are involved in this today were not in it back then.
And didn't realize all of the real costs that's involved.
How much overtime it was taken with firemen or policemen sitting on a radio. How your turnover is in that. And the thing is, you can do a lot more with less when you put it all together, because you can put more people on a frequency. Whereas before, for instance, and I'll use, it's easier to explain almost, but I'll start like in West Volusia County. Used to be DeLand had a dispatch center, Orange City had a dispatch center, and of course our dispatch center. Well, we took on DeLand and Orange City, and with doing that, we put DeLand radio and Orange City radio on the same frequency that our people are on in Northwest Volusia. Well, now, one dispatcher can handle all that with no problem. Now, you can't get on it like in the old days and just talk back and forth, but you have cell phones today, you have computers you can talk back and forth in. But everybody knows what's going on in an instant. Prime example, now jump to East Volusia. Let's say Daytona gets in a pursuit tonight. They're chasing a car, an armed robbery. In the old days, they say they ran out heading towards I-4. Their policeman would have to call their dispatcher. Their dispatcher would have to call our dispatcher. Our dispatcher would relay it to our officer. By that time, many miles are being covered, but now they might be on I-4 or they might be northbound on LPGA. Instead, they can all jump to the same frequency immediately. They're in the same room, and they're able to take and say, hey, this is coming in. In West Volusia, they're already on the same frequency. Over here, Ormond Beach, Holly Hill, and our units in Northeast Volusia on the same frequency. Daytona's so busy they have two of their own frequencies. Same thing in Southeast Volusia now. We have Edgewater, New Smyrna, and our units down there. And we have Fort Orange is on it with South Daytona and Daytona Beach Shores. So you put like areas together. Now there's always going to be growing pains when something like this happens. We're also dispatching all the fire. But there's always going to be growing pains. Right now, you know, you may have a mess up, but that's gonna change. And it's gonna get better as the people get used to it. Not only that, in another year, or a little over a year, we're gonna be the new dispatch center, which allows us to take and bring both our dispatch centers together, which then allows us to better utilize the employees, because we have people over there that have, you know, in our ECC, it's in one, well, it's in Holly Hill, that we transfer costs to, and they're gonna be there to be the first ones that also pick up, which helps us on the pickup and the dispatch. It also allows us for closest unit risk response. Look at it with our ABL, audio vehicle locators, that you can actually see where a police car is. If something's going on, and say, hey, here's somebody else, or a fire truck, or where the ambulance is. So it's more efficient, it's more effective. You have people that truly still want to try to tear it apart, and that's sad. Now, I really think this, in a few years, when people get used to it, and all the agencies have had in the past, they all have been so much happier with it once they get it. Let's give it a chance, let's work with it, let's work together, not try to tear it apart. It saves taxpayers money. These cities that joined us recently, they were already in financial trouble. And this is one way to help them out of it, where they're not having to spend so much money on it. You don't have to have, you know, such a big pool of people to look for them. And dispatch is the toughest job in law enforcement as far as I'm concerned. It takes longer to train them because there's so much to it. It's a stressful job. You know, when it's quiet, but when it's busy, they never slow down. They do a great job. And the tougher it gets, and a lot of the times, you know, we've had an issue, they say, well, 911 call wasn't picked up on time, but usually what that amounts to is, for instance, a wreck or something happens, and a lot of people call in at once. We're already on some of the 911 calls from the same incident. And so another one may not get picked up, but we're working out, trying to work all these problems through. It takes a little bit of time, it's new, and we just have to sit down and all work together to make sure we have the best product that does the best for all the citizens of Volusia County, and gives it efficiently, effectively, and saves money for the citizens.
Right, right. And you have a way for the city's representatives to come together and to talk out those issues and try to work together on them?
Absolutely. We have meetings, users meetings, with police user meeting and a fire users meeting. And then if that doesn't work out, their city manager or police chief is supposed to contact me. And I can tell you from past history, I've never had to have a police chief call me and tell me, hey, we got issues we can't correct. What we've always tried to do is if there's an issue in the middle of the night, let's fix it in the middle of the night. Tomorrow we'll talk about how we fixed it. At that meeting, we should talk about how we fixed it, not what we need to do. And that's the way we want to continue to make sure it's done. Don't wait. Don't let it get critical, or don't wait till we can't, it's harder to find out exactly what happened. Let's jump a problem today, let's fix that problem today, then tomorrow we can talk about more of how we can keep it from happening. A while back we had an issue that it was very critical that one of the police departments, they needed a tape, and it was in reference to a murder investigation. We didn't have anything in place to put it on tape. We could send them a file. There were some computer issues that night, and the file was so big they couldn't get it. So that's a problem. Well, they came up with a problem. The next morning, we were able to come up with a solution and fix it immediately. To where, okay, here we're going to have a thumb drive, and we're also going to have the cassettes there, so that if you need it, we can do it right now and deliver it to you if it's a file's too big or it's not a good way to send it. But it's something that over the years had never occurred. And if it had occurred to us before, we'd have had it in place.
Yeah,
but it happens, so you go at fixing it right then. You don't want that problem now. Tomorrow night, if that problem happens, it's on us. It shouldn't happen. But you just can't think of everything at once, so you have to take and you do everything in your power to get ahead of the curve. But when there's a problem, you work at fixing it so come tomorrow night it doesn't happen again, because if it happens again the next night, that's inexcusable.
Absolutely, and in that kind of relationship, what you're really also inferring is about the kind of relationships that you guys have, the working relationships and collaborations that go on with your department and then all of these other cities. Now there are sometimes, what do you call those, the raids or whatever that you, the task force? Yeah, task forces that you have, that you're a part of, federal task force, and in those you are working with federal agencies and local agencies and doing what, drug, I don't want to use the wrong terms, but drug runs and all that kind of stuff, really trying to to weed out the bad element, basically, right?
Absolutely. And we run a lot of different task forces. Matter of fact, on federal task forces, I have 2 members on the DEA task force. I have 1 member on the new DEA Tactical Pill Diversion Task Force, which pills is our biggest problem today. We have 1 on the Marshall Puget Task Force. FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, I have a member there. That's Homeland Security. FBI Safe Streets, which is gangs, I have 2 members there. ICE, which is Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, I have a member in that. ATF, I have a member in that. And then we have Volusia Bureau of Investigation, which is our local, Volusia County initiative. We started since I've been sheriff. We formed along with Customs, so we had a federal code located agency. And that's for the major drug crimes here. The DEA, they're out of Orlando, so it's a little harder for them. They were working cases up here that they were assigned, but we needed something that was here to attack the local major operations, not the street crimes, but the major operations. And we're in it, Daytona's in it with this FDLE, New Smyrna, Port Orange, DeLand. And this is, when you work together like that, you get so much more done. And then also, we have our street narcotics to do the smaller, street sales and the smaller things. And we're with that, have different members in the county in that, and we have an east side and a west side. So we're working hard on trying to do that, and when you work together, once again, the teamwork, the flow of information, letting everybody know what's going on and work together is how you do the most of it. And the VBI has been so successful. It's
Now, the VBI.
Volusia Bureau of Investigation.
Okay, all right.
VBI. And it belongs to the HIDA task force, which is federal. And on the I-4 corridor, the VBI has been the task force that most people have been trying to keep up with because of the job being done. And that's directly because of the type of individuals that you put into it. The cities, when they send somebody, put somebody in it, put in quality people. We put in quality people, FDLE quality people. And they work hard and they do a good job. And they're making, quite a hit. You never want to stop it, but you never want to give up on it. You can work on it all the time.
And you were talking about the crime rate, the information in regards to the crime rate that, it was at a certain point when you came in as sheriff and it had it reached a low level in 2005 and then it came back up, and then at this point it's going down somewhat. Share with us about the crime rate, which is so key and so important to the businesses and the residents.
Well, for the Volusia County Sheriff's Office in 2000, our crime rate, and this is index crime, which is reported to the federal government, was 3187.92, and that's crimes per 100,000 people. And in 2005, we dropped it all the way to 2668. And in 2008, we saw some spike for a couple of years where it jumped up and went to 3,087. But now it's dropped back down. We've got it back down to 2832. So overall, the population at that time has increased 13.7% over those years. But our index crime has decreased by 11.2%. So it's come down very well. Our violent crime from 2000 until now has decreased. The violent crime has decreased 36% in the county. So we're very proud of where it is. You never stop at that. You're never happy. Like last year, it spiked up a little bit from 381 to 420, but it started at 657 back in 2000. So we've had a very, very good run, but that takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of planning, and also throughout the country, and it's something that nobody can quite understand. Even during the bad times, our crime rates were actually going down. And that went against it.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that. Normally,